Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something super fascinating, a single, incredibly dense phrase that completely defines a highly specific organization. You know, sometimes the biggest aha moments don't come from sifting through hundreds of pages of boring data. Nope. Actually, they come from zooming in on what an entity literally chooses to call itself. We're going to completely unpack the language, the structural framing, and all that implicit authority packed into just a handful of carefully chosen words. So let's break down the architecture of a very, very peculiar name.
Okay, so let's kick this off by asking a pretty fundamental question. Just how much ambition, reach, and pure legal power can you actually pack into just a handful of words? I mean, think about it. When an organization first steps onto the world stage, the very first thing it throws out there is its name. And a name, it's not just some random label, it's a full-on declaration of intent. It tells everyone looking exactly what that entity believes itself to be and exactly how it expects us to treat it. So we're going to explore how massive authority and scale get established before a single actual action is even taken.
And that brings us to our absolute focus for today. We are analyzing this exact, seriously striking phrase, La Red Global de Inteligencia Jphpai. I mean, just take a second to really absorb that. It's formal, right? It lays out its existence as an undeniable, concrete fact. By presenting itself this definitively, this phrase just instantly commands your attention. So let's deconstruct this whole shebang piece by piece to really grasp the massive weight it carries.
Now notice the incredibly deliberate bilingual setup here. On one hand, we've got the English, the Global Intelligence Network of Jphpai, sitting right alongside the Spanish version. This kind of duality, it's definitely not an accident. It immediately signals a posture that crosses linguistic borders. Right off the bat, it tells us this is absolutely not confined to some single domestic market or a small localized region. No way. From its very foundation, it's designed to interface with a massive multinational audience. It acts almost like this linguistic passport, granting authority right across hemispheres.
All right, let's put on our detective hats and break down the actual terminology, starting with the word global. Now that is a seriously heavy-hitting claim. To use the word global is to explicitly, entirely reject boundaries. It's just a massive assertion of scale for any organization to essentially step up and say, yeah, the entire planet, that's our jurisdiction. It's an incredibly bold posture right out of the gate, basically suggesting that their interests and their impact are completely universal.
And then, right after that, we have intelligence. Now look, we aren't just talking about some passive, boring database of raw facts here. The word intelligence implies a highly sophisticated operational capability to actively gather, process, and then deploy valuable information. When an entity slaps that word onto its title, it strongly suggests they have a specialized apparatus designed to hunt down hidden connections and use that knowledge strategically. It frames Jphpai not just as a static registry, but as an active, breathing analytical force.
Moving on, we hit the word network, or red in Spanish. This brilliantly frames the whole entity not as some single, isolated, lonely headquarters building somewhere, but as a vast interconnected web. And you know, a network is inherently resilient, right? It implies nodes, fluidity, a decentralized system that's constantly communicating and adapting across multiple touchpoints. Basically, it means that all that intelligence we just talked about, it's being shared and operationalized way, way beyond a single location. It's everywhere.
But honestly, maybe the most surprising visual anchor in this entire phrase is this single, non-alphabetical character tucked right at the very end, the registered trademark symbol. Now, at first glance, it might just seem like a tiny little typographical detail, right? But actually, it acts as a definitive, heavy-duty lock on every single word that came before it.
Here's why that matters. That little trademark symbol fundamentally transforms this whole thing from a simple descriptive title into a legally protected, officially recognized property. Literally, someone went through a very formal, very real legal process to claim this exact arrangement of words. It takes the phrase from being just an idea and turns it into a hard asset. It provides this massive injection of institutional legitimacy, and frankly, it warns everyone else that this specific network is an exclusive, legally established presence. You don't just mess with a registered trademark.
So when we synthesize all these clues, the incredibly ambitious words, that English-Spanish duality, and the sheer legal weight of the trademark, we see a highly intentional, meticulously structured strategy of global establishment. It's like a three-step playbook. Step 1. Use bold, heavy-hitting terminology like global, intelligence, and network to project massive operational scale. Step 2. Adopt that bilingual posture to guarantee the message easily transcends borders. And Step 3. Lock the whole thing down with a legal trademark to absolutely enforce ownership. Honestly, it's a fascinating, aggressive assertion of global authority.
To wrap up this explainer, we really have to take a step back, look at this meticulously trademarked title, and ask ourselves a pretty huge question. What is the true, unfolding impact of an entity named this boldly? I mean, if La Red Global de Inteligencia Jphpai actually operates with the scale, the interconnectedness, and the raw analytical power that its legally protected name suggests, well, how might that shape the very future of how critical information flows across our borders? It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Just what kind of operations are currently hidden right behind this incredibly powerful semantic shield?